Is he taking him in? Yeah, this is what I thought was gonna happen. He has the stitches, bro. What? Is he making this up from his memories? Oh! Yuki. It's finale time. I don't think I've been this excited to sit down and watch an episode of anime than I have been since like peak Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Don't get it twisted, this is literally just after last episode. I have changed my shirt because it was absolutely roasting in here and I just needed something a little bit more loose. But I am fresh off the crazy lore dump and fighting and plot twists of last episode, and I'm really keen to see how they wrap all of this up. I've still got a lot of questions that need answered. Only a few of them got touched on last episode, so I'm gonna go through what I really want from this finale episode. I need confirmation on Nobara and Maki. Are they still alive? I just need to know at this point. Do not leave me thinking about that for the next however long we have to wait until season 3. What is actually the deal with Chozo and Yuji's relationship and this thing that's inside Geto? Maybe that's something they could leave up in the air for a while, but I would love to know. Are we going to get Gojo back? Do we get the prison realm back? Do we at least get a Gojo update? I really don't know. This show could go in any direction at this point. The Mei and Wee Wee stuff from last episode, it leaves a lot of questions about, you know, how did they get out of there? Who was Mei working with? That's something I think they will leave for later on in the show. I think it's just to put a lot of questions over Mei's character right now. Is Mahito actually dead? I think at this point it's safe to assume that we won't be seeing him anymore, and if we do, maybe Geto can still use him as a curse. I'm really not sure, but I think at this point they want us to believe that Mahito is gone. And then how is this whole situation going to wrap up? We had Yuki come in and step in front of Geto. Are we getting a Geto versus Yuki, like two special grade level Jujutsu sorcerers or a curse, whatever Geto is right now, like going at it? What's happened to everyone else? Have they been rocked or frozen by Urame's technique? Are there any more twists remaining? Can Todo maybe come back in? Yuki is here, it would make sense. Maybe Megumi and Ino could come back. I really don't see Yuta coming into the picture at this point. I think he might be a big deal in season 3. I really hope so. He is my boy. I've missed him so much. I'm literally going to go back and watch the movie again after this just to get my Okkotsu fix. And maybe we'll get a little bit more about Urame and Sukuna, what they're trying to do. Because I've been saying I think Urame is a double agent, right? Like loyal to Sukuna, but working with Geto maybe to further their agenda. So that's really interesting. But I'm not going to waste any more time here. I'm going straight into this finale now. If you enjoyed these videos, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content like this and for other shows that are coming after this show has concluded. And if you feel like supporting just a little bit more, there's a link to my Patreon down below. But with all that out of the way, it's time for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Episode 23, the finale. Oh, intro straight away. You know what that means. It's just gonna be a banger. All right, here we go. Oh, Geto and Yuki. This is good. This is juicy. Oh, it's so juicy. Laru, wait, what's going on here? Okay, there's an agenda. Yep, okay. Interesting. These are conflicting. Hello? Yes, right, I remember this. Yeah. Yep, good. Yeah, Miguel. Okay. Yeah, so we don't want that. So Yuki wants to do the other route. Yeah, okay, no, this is good. I like this. I hope she's truthful about this. Okay, Nishimi is good. Treso? Panda? Interesting, this is all very interesting. Right, like the death paintings. Okay. Oh. Bro, Sukuna says something like this too. Idol Transfiguration. No bueno. Bro, this noise. Yeah? What's he using it on? The ground? Oh, that's sick. Okay. Right, so Yuji pushed Mahito to this extent. Yeah, and now Geto can use that. What? 2 types of non-sorcerers. Stop it! You're shitting me. Oh, I just got chills, man. In my right leg. What? Okay. Yeah, like Sumiki. She's awake. This track in the background. What? Wait, how many are there? Oh my god, this is insane. Yeah, is he making like his own army? Oh, this is going to take a lot of unpacking in the discussion, I think, to understand properly. I'm down for that. We can do that. My man's frozen though. Oh, okay. Rame's released the technique? Oh, not in a good way. Right, we're running out of energy. What? Oh! Okay, Chozo. And that suit? 1,000 years. Wow, this thing has been cooking. Bro, look at Geto. Yo? Bro, Attack on Titan. Is this a domain? What is going on? Damn, look at Yuki. My man is so done. Bro, is he giving up? Or are these just... They almost look like Mahito's transfigured humans, no? It's the prison realm. Are we leaving? We're not leaving. Bro, the ambient, like the music, the sounds. The golden age of Jujutsu. Does Sukuna want this, maybe? Thousands of years old, you know, Sukuna. Where? What? Is that the thing that Geto made, this black hole? Hello? Anyone? Is this thing on? Where are we? Bro. Give me my damn answers, please. What are we doing here? Are we just exploring, like, the regular people, how they're viewing all of this? Like, I don't know any of these people. Okay, this is Jujutsu stuff. I'm not taking a lot of this in, I can't lie. I'm thinking too much about what's going on. Oh, yo! That's where we're at? That's insane! That scared the shit out of me. Is it a cursed spirit? Yeah, it's a curse. I can hear. It's a horror movie. They're out here. Okay, I see what's going on here. Stop it. Don't you. I'm crying. They did that on freaking purpose. That looked like Nobara. Oh my god! Oh my god, this show is crazy. Is this what Geto did? He's made this happen? Hold on, I need to go back because I know what they're talking about right here is important. Imperial Palace. Are there multiple barriers? Oh, bro, this stuff is... There's a lot going on. What are we doing now? Who is this? And what are we doing here? You're dying to a curse. I'm not ready for this. No? Okay, what's going on? Don't jump scare me. It's a bait. Bro, I fucking hate that. That's giving me it's giving me chills. Bro, I hate this. Can we be done with this? Is it Okkotsu? Is it Okkotsu? It's my fucking boy, let's go! Oh, dude, I've forgotten everything that's happened. This is all I care about. Oh my god! I'm so happy. No, he's got this. This Yuta. Wait, who's with him? Miguel? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Is Rika still here? Okay, I thought this might be the case with Yuki. Yeah, but in a different way to what Geto's trying to do, right? What? What? No! Oh, I'm gonna vomit. Okay, Geto, okay. I'm not okay. What are they doing? What? The principal. And Yuta. No, they ruined the show for me. Did Maki lose his arms? That's cap. What is this, by the way? Is it Yuji? I couldn't tell. Yeah? Oh, dude, I wonder what he's thinking about all this. Is he like a fugitive now? The scars? What's he doing? Or like the wave of the crushing reality of the amount of questions that didn't get answered, everything that got reintroduced, this situation that we are finding ourselves in now has just hit me like a ton of bricks. How is there no post credits? How is there nothing? Bro, I can't with all this, man. I can't. Bro. I just bro, the whiplash from Yuta and then him saying Rika. And now this, like, look, you think about it, it's so good. The writing is so good. There's so much to unpack from this Yuta and Yuji thing and everything else that's going on. But oh my god, it's just, it's so good, but like, I hate it. But like, in long term, I know it's gonna be good, I'm sure of it. But like, right now, I was so excited for Yuji and Yuta to meet and work together, and now, oh, okay. Let's take a minute. Let's take a breath. This is going to be a very long discussion because there's a lot to go through and to try and wrap my head around. Holy shit, this is not how I thought I'd be feeling at the end of this season. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have literally gone back and pretty much watched the entire episode again. I'm reading every detail. I've been Googling things, trying to make sure I can understand everything to the best of my abilities. I'm sure you've noticed by now, but I got a little guest behind me for this portion of the discussion. We'll see how long she hangs around for. But I think I've got a good enough grasp of what's going on now that I really understand what's going on. A lot of that episode, after like that little blackout thing and we cut to what's going on in all parts of Japan and whatnot, I really had no idea what was going on. I couldn't absorb any information. I was trying to think about what was going on. Then the whole Okkotsu thing happened and I just imploded. So I think I'm there now. So let's go through this. Okay, so first of all, this whole Yuki and Geto discussion about, the advancement of humanity. Now, Yuki mentions their ally, LaRue. I have no idea who that is. She also later on mentions an ally or allies perhaps that are protecting, Mai, Toto, and the suit. I don't know who she's referring to specifically with that. And there's also this curse or whatever this thing is that's accompanying her. So maybe that's LaRue. I really have no idea, but that's something to think about for the next however long until season 3 comes out. Right, and this is juicy stuff because it goes back to the original conversation that Yuki and Geto has. And Yuki makes a cool reference here to the fact that she's not talking to Geto, she's talking to whatever's inside of Geto as they pan to like the stitches and Yuki's like, I was talking to Geto or whatever. Now, Yuki is saying what her original idea was, which is freeing humanity from cursed energy, and that's why Toji was so important to her, because Toji was the only one who got the cursed energy to literally drop to 0. And it seemed like she'd given up on that idea after Gojo had killed Toji, and that's when she kind of offered that other way of things to happen to Geto, which I'm pretty sure was to make it so there are only Jujutsu sorcerers in the world. And that's potentially what Geto was going to try and make happen. But this thing is not Geto, it is whatever it is that's been doing this for thousands of years. And that's why it responds to Yuki by saying, no, it's not freeing humanity from cursed energy, it's actually optimizing cursed energy. And we'll get to in a moment just why that's what this curse wants, or whatever this thing is. I'm still assuming it's a curse. And Yuki explains that there is a flaw in this plan of trying to optimize cursed energy, because they don't want, well, Yuki doesn't want cursed spirits in the world. And Geto didn't want that either, but his plan was to make it sure there were only Jujutsu sorcerers, but Yuki's original plan was just to remove cursed energy so there can be no cursed spirits. But they're saying that there are very few sorcerers and cursed spirits that emerge in countries other than Japan. And they pan to Miguel during this, saying that, Miguel is obviously not from Japan, as we saw at the end of the movie as well. And I don't understand the specifics of being able to use Tengen to optimize the cursed energy, but that's what Yuki says. But what I do understand is the fact that only humans of this nation, being Japan, would become sorcerers. So they'd be pretty much monopolizing cursed energy, which is exactly what they say. Compared to the rest of the world, all the humans would be used as energy. There would be a big power struggle. You can only imagine the damage that this is going to cause, right? But that is literally not what Yuki wants, right? Yuki wants to get rid of cursed energy, get rid of cursed spirits, right? And that is not what this optimization plan is leading towards. So they have conflicting goals, Yuki and this thing that's inside Geto. So it's really interesting when you really pay attention to what this thing is saying. So this thing says that sorcerers, non-sorcerers, and cursed spirits are all possibilities for the shape of cursed energy that is mankind, which is a really interesting idea. Pretty much saying that it's all about cursed energy. It's not about people or cursed spirits like, Mahito and Jogo were on about, like the age of cursed spirits, right? This thing is looking at cursed energy as the thing. It's not about people, not about cursed spirits, it's about cursed energy and the optimization of that. And then it goes on to say that those specific things, sorcerers, non-sorcerers, and cursed spirits should not be the extent of this shape of cursed energy that is mankind. And it goes on to say, look, I tried to create my own things, being the death paintings, for example, as it pans to Chozo, and it didn't work out in the way it wanted because it says that the things that it created by itself were limited by the bounds of its own potential. Meaning that this thing inside of Geto, whatever it is, cannot by itself create whatever it wants to create, this new optimized version of cursed energy, right? And it realized what it needed to do. It needed to create chaos that was beyond this thing's own control. And that immediately made me think of what Sukuna said to Jogo after he defeated Jogo. He said you needed to create chaos or something, right? You needed to stop at nothing till you got to Gojo to achieve your goal. That is what this thing is doing, right? It's doing exactly what Sukuna said to Jogo. You need to just create this chaos. And it becomes so interesting because when you get to later on in the episode, when this thing is like, are you listening, Sukuna? It's coming, the golden age of Jujutsu. And I feel like that's kind of where Sukuna came from, right? Like some kind of era like that, and that rings a bell for me. And I'll get what the actual like name of that age is when we get to it later in the episode. But that's just like, that's alarm bells are ringing about all that for me. And the way it's going to try and do this is just absolutely insane. They said at some point there was like upwards of 10 million cursed spirits that are being released. Like it's just insane. And these all things that this thing has stockpiled within Geto using Geto's technique. But this thing also said it's been making pacts for thousands of years, so has been, and not just with people like non-sorcerers and sorcerers, but the insinuation was with cursed spirits as well. So maybe that's where all of these freaking cursed spirits are coming from. But we'll get back on track here. Geto, this thing, has finished extracting Mahito's idol transfiguration. And it seemed like this was all part of a massive plan. Like how could it have known, or was it waiting for a technique like Mahito's to come around? But this thing remotely activates idol transfiguration on all of these, I believe, non-sorcerers. And he says 2 types of non-sorcerers. People like Sumiki Fushiguro, which was a crazy thing to pan to, you know, and this group of people are people that have absorbed cursed objects just like Yuji and Sukuna's finger. And that's the situation with Sumiki. Sumiki has absorbed a cursed object. And the other group of people are like Junpei, who have cursed techniques embedded into their bodies, but their brains are like structured like non-sorcerers, right? So they're not like able to understand the curse technique, I believe. And this thing used the idol transfiguration to change their brains to be like sorcerers. So now this first group has the strength to become vessels, you know, to be someone like Yuji, to be able to withstand the cursed object that has been absorbed into them. And the other group are now able to use their curse technique. So for example, if Junpei was still alive, God rest his soul, he would have been able to use his technique now without Mahito having to train him, I believe, because that's how he became able to use his curse technique. And then Geto, with this little bow thing, kind of releases the seal on these cursed objects that are embedded into these people, the first group of people. I'm not sure if this thing he had was purely metaphorical or if it was the actual seal. Either way, that's what happened. Sumiki like wakes up, we see in this shot here, which is crazy. Like I didn't think she'd come into the plot like this. And this thing wants all of these people, like it said like 1,000, to kill each other to deepen their understanding of cursed energy. I don't really understand like what the agenda behind all of this is, but this thing says it's carefully picked the people and the cursed objects. So this is all clearly very well thought out and there is a very coherent plan. And there's a lot of undertone over all this, like this thing is saying, look, I've made very specific preparations. There's an order to everything. Yuki is saying, look, do you really think these people are just going to start killing each other just because they've got some power? It's really interesting. We'll have to see. I imagine all these cursed spirits being released everywhere is going to play into this somehow. Urame's technique dissolves, she collapses, she's been poisoned because some of Chozo's blood has gotten mixed in with her own when she did the reverse cursed healing. Right, and where did these cursed objects come from that have been absorbed by this first group of people that Geto has marked? Well, they are what's left of the sorcerers that this thing has been making pacts with for the last 1,000 years. So it's just like a Sukuna case, right? Like parts of Sukuna have been absorbed into Yuji and now Sukuna resides within Yuji. All of these people that have absorbed a cursed object from one of these Jujutsu sorcerers, I imagine that Jujutsu sorcerer in some way, shape or form now resides inside of them. And now these people have become strong enough through the remote activation of the idol transfiguration to become vessels, right? And that's why right now Geto decides to undo the seals on all these cursed objects, right? Because now the idol transfiguration has made it so they can withstand being a vessel for these Jujutsu sorcerers. But this is crazy stuff. And he says right here, like, of course, I forged my pacts with more than just sorcerers, pretty much implying cursed spirits, right? Maybe even special grades. And he says, my pact with those were annulled when I obtained this body. And immediately that made me thought, okay, specifically Geto's body, and Geto has curse manipulation. So maybe because they were curses, you know, the pacts became invalid or whatnot. But what I'm starting to think is that the pacts became annulled with Geto's body. He just absorbed all of the curses and then released them at the end. Is that what's happened? That's my understanding of this, I think. Because now he has Geto's body, he has curse manipulation, he can control the cursed spirits. He doesn't need a pact with them. He can just control them through Geto's technique. You know, and Yuki's like, wait, does that mean? And then Geto, this thing says, this is the world of the future. All of these cursed spirits start emerging from all these black shadows. So I'm thinking that's exactly what's happened. All of these cursed spirits this thing has been making pacts with for 1,000 years. He's absorbed them with Geto's technique and now they're being unleashed. They said upwards of 10 million. Is that really what's happening here? Because the scale of that is insane. We pan through all the characters, I guess, on the good side that are still here, and then Geto looks at Yuji and says, you know, I'm out of here, I'm going. I've got Gojo in the prison realm here, I'm leaving. And that's when this thing says, are you listening, Sukuna? It's starting again. The world of Heian, the golden age of Jujutsu. And I'm pretty sure this is enticing Sukuna, right? I think Sukuna would want this, no? And then that makes me think maybe Urame is not a double agent and they're all working together. Like Urame, Sukuna, this thing inside Geto, but there's such a situation with Yuji being Sukuna's vessel. It's just so complicated. There's so many questions. It's just insane. And there's a shot of Yuji and then it like fades out, like the power's gone out. And we see this big shot of the map and like this black circle, and this black circle, I imagine, is where everyone is now, where Geto has just activated all of these cursed spirits popping up. And I was looking up maps of Tokyo and whatnot, what's going on, and I feel like that checks out. And this is very close to Shibuya. It makes a lot of sense to me. And the first line, as we pan through all these footages of all these random people just going about their lives, it says reporting on a different matter at the time of the incident in Tokyo, being Shibuya. So this whole thing that's transpiring here with the news reporter that gets killed by a cursed spirit, those two people like sitting in their home who get rocked by that cursed spirit, that's insinuating that all of these things are going to start popping up throughout Japan or more parts of Tokyo even. Yet they say there was a blackout, they're not sure what was going on, all these cursed spirits are popping up. It's just starting to become like a real disaster pretty much. And I'm pretty sure every conversation that seems to be like from some sort of like higher ups or organized kind of groups of people are people who are aware of Jujutsu, sorcery and cursed energy and whatnot, because they're talking about, you know, evacuating and trying to figure out, you know, the best, like the safe places and where to put people. What do we tell the public? Eventually they say, look, we have to go public about cursed spirits. We have to, like, there's going to be 10 million cursed spirits released in maybe just Tokyo. They said they were going to tell them it was only Tokyo, and maybe they can somehow use that information in the public to confine the cursed spirits to Tokyo somehow. It makes a little bit of sense in my brain. I'm sure there's a much more specific way to talk about that. But like jumping through all these like random homes of people is kind of saying, look, this is kind of starting to affect everyone, not just Shibuya, not just the Jujutsu sorcerer kind of world, everyone within Tokyo, maybe even Japan. Okay, I think my understanding of this, like they're talking about like all these evacuations of wards and whatnot, making places really like uninhabitable, and I think that's because there's at least 10 million curses out there. We need to clear the area so we can deal with them. Perhaps there's going to be a massive like fight, like trying to get rid of all these cursed spirits. They need the people out of the way. I think that's what is going on. Okay, so they say that by announcing that cursed spirits only arise in Tokyo, they're trying to make it so like the people leaking cursed energy that kind of I guess maybe attracts all these curses is only in Tokyo, to try and reduce where the cursed spirits are. I think I'm understanding that correctly to some extent at least. And they pan back to the shot of the map with this massive, you know, black sphere thing that is expanding. It seems it's a lot bigger here, and I imagine that's what Geto or this thing has started to do, and this is what all these cursed spirits are going to start inhabiting, like all of this area. And it seems like this whole thing is expanding. Okay, I'm watching this scene back of when they first showed their image of the woman who like from behind kind of looks like Nobara, and we do actually see her from the front for one time before they showed the shot of the back of her head. I only registered that second shot of just the back of her head, and it just looked like Nobara, and I didn't know what was going on. Has there been a time jump, like, and she's fine, like what's going on? But they really did me dirty with that. But I don't know how many people that might have actually gotten. I was just so zoned out through a lot of this because so much was going on. And they talk about two barriers later on. I actually googled the locations of these barriers to try and find out like the significance of them. And the second one they talk about is literally Tengen's barrier over Jujutsu High. They talk about expanding that over a prefecture, and I had to Google what a prefecture is in Japan, and it just means an area like containing a lot of cities. So to me that says they're going to try and forcibly expand Tengen's barrier to cover this massive black thing that's expanding, I guess. And the other barrier they talk about, I assume, must be to do with Kyoto High somehow. That like the barrier that probably covers that. I don't know if we know there's a barrier over Kyoto High, but that's my assumption. The location I googled about that was also really close to this area, so it kind of makes sense to me. Alright, and then we get the most disturbing scene of this show thus far, because it was just so creepy and I hated it. We're in this like, you know, little mart situation, the power's out, so we can assume it's in this area that's being surrounded by this big black sphere sort of thing. But this whole situation is pretty much leading to like this curse appears at the door, and it's luring this kid out, you know, to kill the kid. And who comes in but my freaking boy Yuta. Now I'm so so glad they gave me that moment because I was so excited. Honestly, I was just filled with joy, especially when he talked about Rika, but I'll talk about that. But the whole ending of this has left such a dampen on, and I'm going to cope about it with theories later on to try and make this okay for me, but we'll see when I get there. But Okkotsu is here. He's in the situation. He's killing these cursed spirits that have happened because of this whole situation, right? And that's what he's talking to, I think, maybe the Jujutsu elders or higher-ups later on about. But he comes in, he saves this girl, and he is just like, he takes down the curse and he's just being himself. He's so nice, he's so chill talking to this girl, and then something destroys the curse behind him when it starts to move again, and he says, Rika, like you better chill out, Rika, like Rika did that, like this kid saw that happen, and he kind of blocks her view so she doesn't see what Rika did to this curse. But how is Rika here? I thought Rika was gone. I really didn't think he was going to be as strong. But if Rika is still here somehow, which I can't wait for them to explain in season 3, that is incredible, and that makes me really happy, even though all this crazy stuff with Yuta happens in the rest of the episode. And I will give props to how creepy this whole cursed spirit was, right? It was terrifying. It was like straight out of like a horror movie, like a very specific one. What is it called? I don't even want to think about it because it gives me the creeps. Like Ju-on, The Grudge, like that stuff is terrifying. That's what it was giving. It was horrible. And then we get a bit of Yuki, and this stuff was interesting as well. I almost have nothing to deduce from this. Given that the scene before Yuki here was Yuta and the scene after is Yuta, it kind of makes me think she's talking to Yuta. Like she's saying, I'm sorry, I hesitated. The situation had progressed so far. I thought I'd just sit back and watch. And like, what situation is she talking about? Is she talking about the whole Geto, this thing situation? I think that is what she's talking about. What's she doing back there? Look at her. She's playing with that Snorlax sleeping bag. She hasn't done this before. She's making me think something's down there. Hold on. What are you looking at, Turbo? But it's so interesting if Yuki is actually talking to Yuta about this, but there's so much more to unpack about Yuta after this as well. But Yuki does say, look, I'm not on your side. I'm just trying to, eradicate cursed spirits from this world in my own way, which does make sense. I did kind of pick up on that from like Yuki kind of opposing what Geto wanted. I didn't really think she'd be on like Yuji's side and whatnot. She just wants to stop this Geto thing from happening this way because it doesn't align with her ideals. She's just worried about her agenda. Then she says, it might not be much of an apology, but my allies and I will take responsibility for delivering the kids who were there. Okay, that must mean, all the students, right? Yuji and then all the other Kyoto students and all that. That makes perfect sense. So they're all taken care of. That's good. That's a little bit of closure, at least for the guys who are immediately there. And she says, it's high time I confronted Tengen as well. There's been a lot of talk about the barriers and whatnot. Maybe she just wants to use Tengen's barriers somehow. And she's looking back and she says, what will you do? And I really want her to be talking to Yuta here for reasons I will explain after I go through this whole next scene with Yuta here. So we're in the room. This is a familiar room, right? Where Gojo has been in here multiple times talking to, the Jujutsu higher-ups about 1, sparing Yuji and 2, sparing Yuta. So this is a very symbolic room because it really connected Yuji and Yuta, as well as the room that Gojo had them in where they were talking about, their executions and whatnot. But in this room, Gojo vouched for Yuji and Yuta, and now in this room, Yuta is saying he is going to kill Yuji. Now, do I think this is a massive bait somehow? I really think so. I'm coping. If it's not, it could still turn into a really cool plot situation and development and turnarounds and whatnot. But we'll go through it very quickly here. And I'm assuming they are the higher ups. They're saying, look, good work, Okkotsu. Okkotsu is like, look, I know you don't intend to thank me, but do you see now that I'll follow your orders? And they say, look, no amount of killing cursed spirits is going to prove anything about this. So to me, that kind of says Yuta's been out there killing the cursed spirits that have been unleashed by Geto, perhaps under the orders of the Jujutsu higher-ups here, maybe for reasons unknown. Maybe there is a Yuki situation going on here, I'm not sure. But Yuta is so different here. We saw the very friendly, chilled out Yuta interacting with that girl before, and now this is Demon Yuta. This is Yuta versus freaking Geto right here. He's got that different expression on his face. He's so confident. He's such a changed person. He's like, forge a pact then, or whatever you need to do. If all my killing of cursed spirits hasn't proven anything, he's just like, yeah, do that. It seems potentially the higher ups here distrust Yuta because the task they're handing him with is to kill Yuji. And Yuta says, look, it doesn't matter that he's one of Gojo's students, which Yuta is as well. He says he cut off freaking Toge's arms in Shibuya. I'm killing Yuji. When did this even happen? And there's two schools of thought. It's like, did Sukuna do it somehow and they just didn't show it? Or something else has gotten involved. Some other person that's working with Geto or Geto specifically has chopped off Toge's arms, Inumaki's arms, and now this false information is being relayed to Yuta that Yuji is the one responsible for chopping off one of his best friend's arms. Which is just insane, by the way. How did we get here? Why do we have to do this for Toge? Like, at least Toge doesn't, like, need his arms like his cursed speech, right? But, like, that's ridiculous. He's one of the coolest characters, and now he's got no arms. Like, what are we doing? But I'm really thinking there could be a lot more going on behind all of this, because we know Gojo doesn't trust the higher-ups, right? And he's trying to raise people like Yuji and Yuta, Todo, to have alongside him for like this massive war that's potentially going to happen, you know, like maybe they're going to overthrow the higher-ups or something, and maybe Yuta's onto that. I'm pretty sure Gojo was pretty public about this information to at least Yuji. I could be wrong about that, but we know this about Gojo. And I think Yuta is a very, very smart guy, right? And there was some shade thrown across Yuji last episode, right? About how, look, Sukuna's done all of this stuff. I've forgotten his name, I'm sorry, but me was meant to Kukasabe, I might be wrong about that, was saying, look, I'm not going to be on your side, I'm going to be against Yuji. So it makes sense that some of these people would be against Yuji. I really don't think Yuta is going to be one of them. I would be shocked if Yuta is this in the dark about a lot of what is going on. He could just straight up be getting fed lies from the higher-ups, right? He might have missed all this information while he's been away. Gojo might never have told him about the whole Sukuna and Yuji situation. It is a possibility, but I really think Yuta is more in the know than what we think he is right now. But there is every chance that Yuta is just playing the higher-ups so he can be out there and do stuff. I don't really know, because to me, Yuta is my favorite character. I've been preaching this. I'm sure everyone loves him. He had so many fantastic moments in the movie. He was such a mysterious character in season 1. He's just been AWOL throughout this whole season. He comes in with a really cool moment, and now this has been dropped on us. I don't want this to be the case. I've been so hyped about Yuta and Yuji meeting, being on the same page. They're such similar characters. There are so many parallels between them. But like I said before, even if all of this like is just exactly what's going on, nothing of what I said like could be the case, it could make for a crazy sort of plot situation where like it's Yuta versus Yuji, and then they realize like how similar they are with Rika and Sukuna, and like, you know, their executions and Gojo and whatnot. Maybe the higher-ups don't even know that Rika is still around. Oh, there's just so much to think about. It could be a really crazy like season 3 situation with like Yuji versus like Yuta or something like that, because then we go through like all this text that pops up on the screen about what's going on now. So Geto survival confirmed. Yep. We've declared the reinstatement of his death sentence. Yep, that makes perfect sense. That's completely fine. I agree with this one. And then we start with the misinformation, and this is all stuff I believe coming from the higher-ups, right? They say Gojo has been deemed an accomplice in the Shibuya incident. Bullshit. And is hereby expelled from Jujutsu Society. Bullshit. In addition, any attempts to free him from his seal will be deemed a crime. Freaking bullshit, right? The Jujutsu higher-ups are really out. I don't know what they're trying to do. Are they being manipulated somehow by Geto and all of this? Urame, I really don't know. But they're really out here like just they've thrown Gojo under the bus. Like, he's done. Absolutely ridiculous. Some more bullshit. The principal, Yaga, is sentenced to death for inciting Gojo and Geto, causing the Shibuya incident. They're literally just making up like things to make it so they can do these things. It's just ridiculous. So is he just done? Is Masamichi just done? Like, they're gonna kill him off just like that, just for existing as the principal of Tokyo High and for, you know, inciting Gojo and Geto into Jujutsu Society. Ridiculous. Suspension on Yuji's death sentence, gone. His execution to be carried out promptly. By who? Freaking Okkotsu Yuta. Now this one, look, I can understand it because of the Sukuna situation. They wanted to kill Yuji straight away because of Sukuna. I get it. I understand it. To be honest, that's a valid argument. Sukuna's come out because of all the fingers from Jogo and has done this to Shibuya. Look, I get it. Understandable, but without Gojo here, without anyone else who can step in and have some power and authority over what these guys are doing, there's no shot. Of course they're gonna incite freaking Yuji's execution again. And for it to be Yuta, and by the way, shout outs to special grade Jujutsu sorcerer Okkotsu Yuta, still special grade. He's still got Rika with him. He is still that guy. But I really think there could be a situation where Gojo has, like, you know, he's been talking to Yuta. He's made sure Yuta was going to be this guy, and Yuta can step in and do something. I think that's a real possibility. I could be coping. I don't care. That's what I want to happen. One last shot of the map. The black sphere is ginormous now, clearly expanding, and then we're on this bridge. And it's just Yuji walking across this bridge. It's dark, he's got a torch. It's quite an extended scene for what it is. And then he's standing there, the sun's starting to come up. You see his face, he's got 2 scars from his battle with Mahito and the whole Shibuya situation. And they look like they've kind of healed, so it seems like it's been quite a bit of time. And I'm getting real fugitive vibes from Yuji right now, given all the information we just got, what's just happened. I think him and maybe a lot of the other sorcerers that were there are all fugitives now. And it looks to me as Yuji like does this clap, and then there's this big rumbling, and then these cursed spirits emerge behind him. I think he's out here just hunting down cursed spirits, doing what he can in this situation. But it's just so like what a crazy like shot to end on. And then it's like bang, that's it. That's the episode. That's the entire season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen, the Shibuya arc. I am moving on 50 minutes alone just for this discussion. This is going to be my longest video on the channel, I think excluding the 2 movies that I've done. But there's just so much information. I've just spent probably collectively 2.5 upwards of 3 hours on this episode, watching it twice, Googling things, trying to understand everything, and now this, it just deserves all this attention. And I'm so glad I've done it, because now I understand things a lot more than I did. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about all the questions, you know, that checklist I had of things I wanted to know before the season end. I still have that checklist. Where is Nobara? Where is Maki? No Gojo. No more information about this whole Chozo situation. I'm almost angry talking about this. I cannot believe they have left Nobara and Maki up in the air like this. I don't know how long season 3 is going to be. I haven't looked it up yet. I'm going to do that right freaking now, actually. I'm seeing 2025 on this shit. I'm seeing 2025. If I have to wait over a year to see what happens to Maki and Nobara, if they're alive or not, I'm damn near about to read the manga. You know, I got to this point with Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan, and I read the manga, and I was grateful for it. But when it came out and I could have recorded videos, I was like, so I'm this close. I'm this close to the manga right now, but I cannot believe they've done this. This show is really pushing the boundaries, and I'm glad it's doing it, because like no show has made me feel like this. Like it's Attack on Titan type stuff, right? The plot, the scale of things that are happening, the cliffhangers, the season-long cliffhangers, the years of wait, it's really doing it. This show is really doing it. Some of my fondest memories of anime are just like being in these moments, like with Attack on Titan, just thinking what could happen, what could this mean. So I'm so grateful to Jujutsu Kaisen for doing this to me right now, but at the same time, I hate it, man. That's insane. I can't wait to go and watch all these other reactions to these last 2 episodes and see what other people are thinking about this, because it's just ridiculous. But I think my big theory about Geto and Gojo has been debunked, about perhaps this thing that's taken over Geto might take over Gojo's body to try and achieve, you know, the goal of whatever the cursed energy situation was. But this thing wants a different thing than Geto. It wants, you know, optimization of cursed energy, and it's already figured a way to do that using Mahito's, you know, art of transfiguration, plus all these other sorcerers and non-sorcerers, this whole big plan that it has. So I think that's already like happening. So I think that kind of debunks the possibility of this thing, you know, taking over Gojo's body, at least for, you know, the purpose of what Geto wanted. But we'll see. Maybe it still takes over Gojo for another reason, but it still has Gojo in the prison realm, which is nuts. That is going to be one of the craziest like season finales. Like I feel like we're like in maybe the middle of the show. I don't know how long. I think the manga's still going. I have no idea how much longer the show is going to be, but I feel like we're right in the meat of it. Like there might be 2, maybe 3 more seasons, and these have been long seasons as well, like 24, 25 I think, and now 23 episodes here, plus the movie. So I think that they're pacing very well. But I think that's going to do it. I think that's it. I've addressed almost everything, I believe. That was a very, very long discussion. Absolutely crazy finale. It's going to take me so long to edit this video, but it's going to be so worth it. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And for the new shows that will be coming to the channel, I'm going to be doing Chainsaw Man, Vinland Saga, the end of Season 1 and Season 2, as well as continuing on with Hunter x Hunter, Cowboy Bebop, and Solo Leveling. And as always, please continue to leave your comments and feedback down below. I would love to talk with all of you about how you think about how this season ended. And please correct me on any details that I obviously got wrong, any theories or anything, please just leave those up in the air, and we'll see what happens in Season 3. But anything I openly got wrong or anything I missed or you would like to correct me on, please feel free so I can understand exactly what's going on. But thank you all so much again for watching. I appreciate all of you all, and we'll see you all in Season 3 in maybe 2025 of Jujutsu Kaisen.